Welcome to my DIY project where I made homemade toothpaste. Let's jump right into it. So I used an empty bowl, a teaspoon scooper, a 2/3 scooper, a 2/3 cup of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, a cup of water, and 2 teaspoons of arrowroot powder to create my homemade toothpaste. Once you start to mix around and slowly add water, you will create a fine paste. And once you get that paste, you'll actually work towards creating your actual toothpaste. So you'll be able to see here in 1 second that how I was making my toothpaste. And I started by pouring the salt and the baking soda into the bowl and then stirring it around, and then once I had the good consistency of it, I was then able to add water and continue the actual process of making my toothpaste. So I chose to also add arrowroot powder as a thickener to make my paste more fine and ensure that I actually have a good sense of toothpaste that would be able to stick to my toothbrush and then I'll be able to use as toothpaste. I did realize afterwards that I might have added a bit too much salt and I probably could have stirred it more in the beginning, but we live and we learn. So after I had my completed paste, I was able to add my flavoring. I'm a very basic person when it comes to toothpaste, and I just like the taste of mint, so I chose to add diced mint from my backyard to make a minty flavor in my toothpaste. It could have been pureed, but I wanted to decrease my electronic usage to make this as a sustainable project as possible. So then I stored it overnight in my refrigerator because I needed to keep the consistency of the paste and I needed to ensure that it actually would successfully become a paste. So I stored it overnight, and then the next night I took it out and I added it into a little reusable jar and then applied it to my toothbrush and then brushed my teeth. And it was a very successful project. It did taste minty, but it did have that salty aftertaste, which I had mentioned before. All of these ingredients were found at my local Ralph's, so they were very accessible and easy to get for a low price. The mint also came from my backyard, so that's even more cost effective as I need to pay for it, and it was just at my own disposal. This project can be considered sustainable because it decreases reliance on non-reusable plastics because I did store the toothpaste in my reusable jars and tubes rather than factory produced, which does really only have one usage since you have your toothpaste in that jar for a long period of time. I also got some of the projects from my own home, which made me less reliant on factory produced chemicals and products. So I was able to avoid the manufacturing process pretty much altogether, which releases pollutants and creates plastics that are single use and often end up in landfills. This would relate to units 5, 6, and 8 of our APES curriculum, as it dealt with the way we are using our land and our water for production. I am using alternatives for factory manufactured products. I was mindful of my energy consumption and decreasing its needed usage. I was working towards decreasing terrestrial and aquatic pollution, as single-use plastics are often seen for both of these areas, and I used reusable containers to combat that. And it reduces my dependency on things like fossil fuels, as that is what plastics are created of. And I hope you enjoyed my video.